It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, you can see I'm on my Dynabook, and I got the Dynabook connected to the Sharp Interactive board. And in that Sharp Interactive board, I have a video of the interview that Andy did with Sam Errigo. Sam Errigo is the president and CEO of Konica Minolta Business US. They got together, and Sam was trying to address the concerns in the marketplace about the massive cutbacks that are going on over there at Konica. I said massive cutbacks. Of course, they call it agility. But ladies and gentlemen, the reason I said massive cutbacks because the reality of it is Konica Minolta is just not answering the questions. The press releases about what's going on in the marketplace regarding Konica are beyond belief to be in reality. I mean, we know that Konica over the last 2 years has lost $300 million. I get it. It's not all print losses, but that's something that Sam could have addressed. Sam could have addressed the fact that in the United States, the print business profit was this or loss was this. In the United States, the all-covered MIT business, the revenue is this. The average revenue per account is this compared to our average revenue on our print, which is this. Sam could have discussed the successes of the DX strategy. Folks, here's the reality. I've been pretty damn critical of all covered. The reason so is our industry's moving into the MIT deliverable. Konica should be the shining star on the hill. They have more awards on their website than anybody, and we all know how awards are gotten these days. But the bottom line is, why don't they share the successes based on factual revenue and profit numbers of the MIT and DX strategy? They need to do this, and they won't. In this interview, I actually heard Sam say that Todd, who heads up All Covered, is going to take it global. I'm thinking to myself, what? So the reps in France are going to be able to sell MIT services to the print customers, but the reps here in Kansas are struggling doing it? Ladies and gentlemen, this interview was a litany of all the things that Konica Minolta is going to do. The problem is, they didn't share anything of what they've done with any kind of substance. And when you don't share the substance of the successes, how is anybody going to believe the dreams or your aspirations? People that work at Konica are probably saying to themselves, well, we've heard this before the last time. We heard we were going in this direction the last time. We heard that the workplace hub was going to save our industry, was going to reinvent our industry. Ladies and gentlemen, the problem is, and I really believe this with all my heart, Konica Minolta doesn't want to face the fact that they're having a problem. And if they don't want to face the fact they're having the problem, how in the world are they going to fix it? And here's the reality. If they're doing all these wonderful things with the DX strategy, the world needs to know. Especially those people over in Europe or around the world that are going to start selling all covered. They might be thinking to themselves, don't bring that over here. We don't want to lose money. Ladies and gentlemen, Konica Minolta in the United States went from 4 regions down to 2. They cut like 10 or 11 market vice presidents. They're bringing together the United States and Canada. They're making cuts. And the reality of it is, what's the real plan? Because when I listened to the interview, the real plan was more of what they've been talking about for the last 5 or 6 years. The only thing different, they're going to do it with less people. Now I realize this is something that was said in that interview, talking about the quality of people, the people that can understand the deliverable, the people that can understand the marketplace better. You would think those people would have been already in place. Konica Minolta's had this deliverable for over a decade. Konica Minolta's bought 17 assets underneath all covered. Where's the success stories? Konica Minolta, I'm going to continue to ask you for them. Maybe one day you'll share them, maybe you won't. But I will tell you this. You know, it doesn't matter what the press releases are. It doesn't matter what the interviews are. I'm not going to stop doing what I do, bringing awareness to the marketplace. I want to end today's episode with a little story, and I want you all to think about this real hard. There's a guy out in the desert, and he tells a whole bunch of people, come to the desert, let's go on a walk. And people say, wow, that sounds fun. And they show up and they're walking across the desert. They're hotter than hell. Some of them are starting to drop dead. And the leader looks off to the horizon and says, "Stick with me. There's an oasis just ahead." The only problem is the leader of the walkers knows that that oasis is just a hallucination. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't need leaders leading our industry to an oasis when they in fact know it's a hallucination. Just some things to think about, my friends, because everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.